Hello, my name is Russell Medley, and this is my EDL portfolio. Very happy to be able to get to this point and to present all the cool things I got to do along the way in this practicum class and throughout the program as well. So here I'm just going to share with you a few highlights from the ePortfolio. First, starting with my goals, and here I made a YouTube presentation. But what I really liked about this was it kind of just laid out and made me think about kind of where I wanted to be and kind of where I saw my journey going, not only professionally but personally as well. I really enjoyed the personal aspect because I think that sometimes that kind of gets lost in going through these classes, and I think it's always important that while we want to service our profession the best we can, and we have all these big goals that personally, we need to be looking out for ourselves as well and kind of where we want to be with our families and our lifestyle and things like that. And so it was just kind of cool to map out and kind of think about where I wanted to be and think deeper, like even after I get out of the profession, on kind of where I want to be at with my life and my family and things like that. So really enjoyed that presentation. Something else that I kind of saw as a highlight was the leadership philosophy. And the reason I like going through this is, and going through some of the classes, I think it's just really important to have a good baseline of who you are, what you stand for, okay, what direction your moral compass points. And I think that knowing that about yourself will help you lead others. It'll help you make decisions and kind of just lets you, the people that you work with, know kind of where you stand and where you kind of you're just at your core who you are. This is my family here. I always like showing them off, and I really like the quote underneath it where it says, "Train people well enough so that they can leave. Treat them well enough that they don't want to." And I think as a building leader and just leadership in general, I think this should be the goal of all leaders. That we want to build people up around us and give them the training and the tools that they can go out and develop into leaders themselves, but I think it really speaks to a leader when you have that kind of leadership built up, and yet people still want to stay just because they are respectful to you and the way that you've built things up. They love being a part of what you have helped create. And so I just think that speaks to being a great leader. Um, Another YouTube presentation put together. I enjoyed this just because it helped me kind of reflect on my journey through education, going back to 2007 when I was in college and I switched to become an education major, and just kind of looking at the timeline of how I've kind of gotten to where I'm at today. I would never have imagined back in 2007 that I would be where I'm at today, finishing up my master's degree, wanting to become a building leader. But here I am. So it's just kind of cool to reflect on that and the journey it's taken me to get to this point in time. Next is my resume, and I recently had the opportunity to interview for an athletic director position, and so a lot of this stuff, along with the leadership philosophy, I had already completed, and so I tried to, put really important information on there that would hopefully set me apart from other candidates, including my education, teaching experience. I have a lot of coaching experience, and so because I was moving and interviewing for athletic director position, I just tried to pick out really key skills that I got through those experiences that helped relate to the position and that I was applying for. And so listing some additional experience there as well. Next, we kind of go to the activities, and I will start with the annotated bibliography first. This was a lot of work, and I was warned of that kind of going into it from peers and those that have gone through the program already. And I was glad I did do it first, just because it did take a lot of time. But I really did enjoy it, especially when it was done, obviously. But I liked finding and identifying different resources that related to the topic questions that are also resources that I could come back to. Even when I'm in a building leadership role. There was just some good articles and good sources that I thought provided a lot of good information, and what I really enjoyed was when I would find different articles on the same topic, and a lot of the information on those were the same, going from article to article. And so that just kind of helped reinforce those facts, and I think really kind of drove home the point and kind of where I should be as a building leader as it related to those different topic questions. And so I think the reflection piece was also really fun, just because it's one thing to read and analyze the information, but then kind of reflecting on it, I think, is such an important aspect of this assignment because obviously that's the end goal is how are we going to use that information in whatever role we see ourselves in moving forward in the future. And so I enjoyed that piece as well. Next, looking at the activity log and the spreadsheet, this kind of helped keep me on track in terms of, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, but keeping me on track to make sure I'm meeting all the different components, logging the different hours that I spent with each activity. You can see that it also broke it down by what level it was. We were required to get 150 total hours. Here listed, I got 155. And so this was just nice for me to refer back to make sure I was addressing all the different components and making sure I had everything completed there. This one was kind of the same. However, I like this one just because it was more clean and organized. I use this a lot, just making sure that I was getting the right number of activities for the different levels, and also making sure that I use this to come up with evidence for the different activities that I chose. And so I use this quite a bit to make sure, like I said, that I was addressing everything. And I think I ended up clicking more than the 22 overall. But I just had so many good activities that I decided to do all that I did. Excuse me. So then in doing these activities, I then created a slideshow for the district, secondary and elementary levels and just highlighting a few here, making sure that I got all the different standards. Some were ones that I was able to use work from previous courses leading up to this point, and so obviously that was nice. But I really did enjoy doing activities that weren't from our coursework, where I got to meet with my administration and come up with evidence for those various activities. Some of these are presentations that I could give as a building leader. This one was cool. I got to be part of the evaluation and interview process for our district gifted position. And so here I have screenshotted a list of the questions that were asked. But my building leader thought it would be a good idea for me to get some experience and sit in on those interviews. And so that was like one of my first activities I got to do. And it was just kind of fun being in there with other admin and just kind of going through their thought process on things. So that was a lot of fun. And then the keep evaluation was, I think, the final one I did for the district, where I got to evaluate and kind of use technology in a way that foster professional learning, and I could give effective feedback to the person I was evaluating for. Looking at my elementary slideshow, I'm currently an elementary teacher teaching physical education, and so I had a lot of activities. So I came up with the minimum of 10 here, and so it was kind of fun just getting to show off some of the different work that I got to do at the grade school. And so I'm right there holding our cool banner where we launched, as they call it, for our redesign that we went through as a school. This was pretty fun. This is actually my principal's office and her desk, but she was gone with a knee scope, and so I got to actually fill in as acting principal for the 3 days she was out, and just kind of went through her routines and handled anything that needed addressed. And so that was kind of a lot of fun, and also just for the staff and students to kind of see me and going from being a PE teacher to that of as a building leader was pretty fun as well. Some more activities. This was something cool too that in fostering two-way communication. I'm part of our building leadership team, and something new that we've implemented this year is something called Class Tag. And so it's just a great way for us to kind of foster communication between staff, parents, where we can give information out to them, they can comment or sign up for things as well on their end. So great example of that. I got to help design a master schedule for our specials and making sure that it fit within the overall school's master schedule. I got to advocate for needs by going through the process of presenting the need for a fence around our playground. That myself with administration, got to go to a board meeting and kind of present why we felt it was important to get a fence put around our playground. and some evaluation tools that I got to utilize as well. Finally, looking at our secondary level, I do a lot of coaching at the secondary level, but it was kind of fun to get to interact with students in other ways, and in the building as well. So this talks about when I interviewed for the position and kind of how I went through and in my prep work leading up to the interview. Just did an evaluation of their mission and vision statements, just to make sure I was kind of bringing those up, letting them know that I took the time to look into that stuff. Um, these are where I got to hang out with our athletic director and kind of go through supervision and things like that, at different sporting events, handling cash boxes, working with properly storing money and things like that. And then my interactions and just modeling ethical behavior between officials, staff, coaches, things like that, and of course, parents and fans in the stands. Something else cool I got to help with was our community resource fair, where I got to reach out to different external stakeholders and kind of help bring them in for a night where they could set up booths inside the gym. And this kind of is a layout of the gym. Excuse me. And we just got good information out to students and families, and it was a great way for those external stakeholders to kind of get information out to the community, or school community as well. This was something pretty interesting for our district, was being part of an active shooter drill where, oops, I apologize, where local law enforcement from various counties close by utilized our school building, and then we got to use our students and staff to kind of go through some different simulation drills. And it was a 2-day event. WIBW, our local news station, did a lot of coverage on it as well. And we got to, as after all the simulation stuff, we got to meet as a building, and admin and things like that, and just kind of go through our procedures and how we're handling different things, just so that we could be better prepared for those type of events. Me getting to hang out and observe different classrooms as well. So those are my slideshows. Um, my documentation from the various levels. I apologize, I'm losing my voice. Um, Going from my elementary principal to the high school principal, as well as the superintendent of schools. I just thought that was a cool thing where I got to show off all the cool things that I've gotten to do throughout the course of this program. And even meeting with like the superintendent, it was just cool to like kind of put a bug in his ear that I was wrapping up. I thought it was good just to kind of have some dialogue between me and him, getting the perspective of our current building leaders and kind of their thoughts going into their first year of being a principal. I just found very beneficial to meet with them and get this signed off, but more importantly, just the discussions that we were able to have after it. The ePortfolio reflection. So I like this just because it kind of was going through my thoughts and things before starting the program. Of course, going through the program, how those things were the same or different, and then kind of analyzing and kind of what I've taken from the whole experience as a whole. And then what I liked also too was the going through the different classes that I've taken throughout the course of the program, and it was kind of a good refresher for me to go back through and all the different activities and topics that were covered throughout the programs, and then reflecting on as a building leader how I would use what I've learned in real life situations and applications. So I found that to be very beneficial. And the highlight video is what I'm making now. Overall, I really enjoyed the experience of this course. I feel like I'm so much more prepared to become a building leader, and I'm really excited for the next stage. Really happy to be done with this, and so I'm excited for graduation. And so I can't thank Fort Hays State and all the teachers and faculty enough for all that they've done for me and prepared me for this next step in my journey. Thank you.